right, let's dive right in, shall we? Today we're tackling Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
A classic.
It really is, and for good reason.
Yeah.
It's all about making personal finance and wealth building, actually doable.
Achievable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have, like, a finance background, which, let's be honest, most of us don't.
Definitely. That's one of the things that makes Sethi's approach so refreshing, actually. He doesn't assume you're a financial whiz.
Right. He meets you where you are. So in this deep dive, we're going to break down the book's most actionable steps and the most eye-opening insights.
It's like your personalized roadmap to, well, getting rich.
Exactly. So one of the first things that really struck me about Sethi's approach is his emphasis on personal responsibility.
Absolutely. He really tackles those common excuses people have for not saving or investing.
Yeah, like I'm just bad with money.
Exactly. And he dismantles that excuse brilliantly, showing you how to shift your mindset and take control.
Which is, I'll admit, sometimes easier said than done.
It can be, yeah. But he breaks it down into manageable steps. And he starts with something that a lot of people find kind of intimidating. Credit.
Oh, yeah, credit scores, credit reports.
All of that. But he demystifies it all. He explains why good credit is so crucial. Like, did you know that the difference in mortgage payments between someone with good credit and someone with bad credit can be over $70,000?
Seriously, $70,000.
Over the life of the loan, yeah.
That's wild. Okay, you've convinced me. Good credit is important. But how do we get there? Credit cards and credit scores always seem kind of like a mystery to me.
I get it. It can feel really complicated. But Sethi breaks it down in a way that's easy to understand. He walks you through credit reports, credit scores, and how to use credit cards strategically.
So it's not about avoiding credit cards altogether.
Not necessarily. He stresses that, yes, getting rid of debt is essential, but he also talks about negotiating with credit card companies, which a lot of people don't even realize they can do.
You can actually negotiate with credit card companies. What? Tell me more about this.
He actually shares a story about how he used his credit card concierge to get tickets to the LA Philharmonic, which is pretty cool.
That is seriously cool.
Yeah.
I never thought to try negotiating with a credit card company. So we've got the psychology of money, the importance of credit. What else is in Sethi's wealth building plan?
Well, he tackles another big myth that you can't have both zero fees and high interest rates when it comes to bank accounts.
Okay, yeah. That always seemed too good to be true.
Right. But he shows you how to make it happen using online banks.
Online banks. I've heard of those, but I've always been a little hesitant. Are they really safe?
Sethi addresses those concerns directly. He talks about the security measures they have in place and the advantages they offer. Like, they often have interest rates that are like 6 to 10 times higher than traditional banks.
Wow, 6 to 10 times higher.
Yeah. He gives this example. If you have $25,000 in savings, you could earn like $750 in interest with an online bank,
Huh.
compared to like $125 with a traditional bank.
Okay, that's a huge difference. So are you saying we should ditch our regular banks and go all in on online banking?
Not necessarily all in. He suggests a balanced approach. He recommends having a checking account and a high-yield savings account, ideally with an online bank.
And maybe multiple accounts for different goals.
Exactly, like one for a down payment on a house or a dream vacation or whatever your goals are.
So it's about having a system that works for you and supports your individual financial goals.
That's right. It's amazing what consistency can do.
Yeah. But speaking of investing, there's one thing that always kind of puzzled me about Sethi's approach. He doesn't seem to be a big fan of financial advisors.
You picked up on that, huh?
Yeah, I did. Why is that?
He's actually quite skeptical of financial experts in general, and he has some pretty good reasons.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Well, he cites studies, for instance, that showed even like wine experts often couldn't tell the difference between a really expensive wine and a cheap one.
Interesting. So his point is that expertise doesn't always equal good results.
Exactly. Especially in a field like finance, where there are so many variables.
That makes sense. So if we shouldn't necessarily rely on experts, how should we approach investing? It can all feel so complicated.
That's what I love about Sethi's approach. He actually advocates for simplicity.
Simplicity.
Yeah. He believes that overthinking and overcomplicating things can actually hinder your progress.
I can definitely see that happening.
So he introduces this concept called the investment pyramid.
The investment pyramid.
Yeah, it's basically a framework for building a diversified portfolio. I'm a visual person, so I love that he uses a pyramid.
Okay, break it down for me. What is this pyramid all about?
So at the base of the pyramid, you have your low-risk investments, things like, high-yield savings accounts and CDs.
Got it.
Then, as you move up the pyramid, the risk and potential return increase. In the middle, you have bonds. And at the very top, you have stocks.
So it's about balancing risk and reward.
Exactly. And figuring out what's right for you based on your goals and your time horizon.
Right. Okay, this pyramid is making things a lot clearer. But I still feel like I need some guidance when it comes to actually choosing specific investments.
Sethi has a solution for that, too.
Okay, tell me more.
Life cycle funds.
Life cycle funds. We touched on those briefly before.
Yeah, right. They're basically designed to automatically adjust your asset allocation as you get older. It's like a set it and forget it approach to investing.
Okay, remind me how those work.
So they're a type of mutual fund that starts out with a higher percentage of stocks when you're younger, because you have more time to recover from any potential losses.
Right.
And then as you get closer to retirement, they gradually shift to a higher percentage of bonds.
So it's more about preserving your capital at that point.
Exactly.
That does sound pretty ideal, like you don't have to actively manage it as much.
Exactly. It's like having a personal financial advisor constantly rebalancing your portfolio for you.
But without the high fees.
Right.
I like it. So we've got our long-term investments covered. What about day-to-day spending?
That's where Sethi's concept of conscious spending comes in.
Conscious spending.
It's about aligning your spending with your values and priorities. And he has this great tool for helping you do that. It's called the envelope system.
The envelope system. That sounds kind of old school.
Maybe a little, but it's super effective.
Okay, what is it?
Basically, you allocate a certain amount of cash to different spending categories, groceries, entertainment, whatever's important to you. And you literally put that cash in separate envelopes.
Oh, okay.
And once the cash in that envelope is gone, that's it for that category until the next month.
So it's a very visual way to track your spending.
Exactly. It helps you avoid overspending and stick to your budget, forces you to make choices.
I could see how that would be helpful. I'm definitely an impulse shopper. But do you really have to use actual envelopes?
That's the classic way to do it. But Sethi knows that carrying around envelopes isn't always practical, so he suggests adapting the concept to the digital world.
Oh, okay. So like using separate bank accounts.
You could do that, or even use a budgeting app. Lots of them have virtual envelopes now.
That makes more sense for me.
The key is to find a system that works for you.
Yeah. Make it easy to track your spending.
Exactly. Become more mindful of where your money is going.
I like that. So conscious spending is all about making sure your spending matches your values.
Exactly. And it's not about deprivation or penny pinching or anything like that.
That's good to know.
Sethi says you should spend lavishly on the things you love, but cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't.
I love that.
Right. Like he gives the example of negotiating a lower cable bill so you can free up money for travel, if travel is something you really value.
Makes sense. It's about trade-offs.
Exactly.
So it's not just about managing your money, it's about managing your life.
That's a great way to put it. And to make all of this more manageable, Sethi suggests a framework for allocating your income.
Okay. What's that?
The 60-10-10-20 rule?
I've heard of that. Remind me.
So 60% of your take-home pay goes to fixed costs, rent, bills, that kind of thing. 10% to investments, another 10% to savings, and then 20% is for guilt-free spending.
Ooh, I like the sound of guilt-free spending.
Right. It's a pretty balanced approach.
It is. It doesn't sound restrictive at all.
Exactly. And he stresses that these are just guidelines. You can adjust them based on your own situation.
Right.
But the key is to have a plan. Be intentional.
I'm definitely seeing that as a theme here. Be intentional with your money.
Definitely. And to make being intentional easier, Sethi is a huge EE proponent of automating your finances.
Okay, automation. That's something I've been wanting to get better at. It sounds almost magical, like you don't even have to think about your money.
It's pretty close. He argues that it can save you so much time and mental energy.
Yeah, okay, sold. Where do I start?
First step, automatic bill pay.
Bill pay. Yeah, I need that. I'm always forgetting to pay bills on time.
It happens. But with automatic payments, you'll never miss a payment again.
Love it. What's next?
Automating your savings.
Savings. Okay.
That's where the real magic happens. You
Hmm.
set it up so that every time you get paid, a certain amount automatically goes into your savings account.
So you're basically paying yourself first.
You got it. You're prioritizing your future self.
Makes it so much easier.
It really does. And then you can automate your investments too.
Investments. Okay.
Yeah, so you're automatically transferring money from your checking account to your investment accounts on a regular basis.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what if, an unexpected expense comes up? Do you have to go in and manually change everything?
That's a good question. Sethi talks about that. He says it's important to review your automated system periodically, make adjustments if you need to.
So you're not just setting it and forgetting it completely.
Right.
Good to know. But for the most part, it's all happening in the background.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. Frees up your mental energy to focus on other things.
I like that.
Right.
Well, I'd say we covered a lot in this part. Simplifying investing, conscious spending, automation.
It's amazing how much actionable advice is in this book.
It really is.
Can you believe how much we've already covered?
I know, right? From credit cards and bank accounts to investing and conscious spending. It's been quite a journey.
It really has. But, even with all these amazing tools and strategies, there's one crucial element that Sethi emphasizes that we haven't really talked about yet.
What's that?
The psychology of money.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He doesn't just give you the how-to. He also delves into the mindset, right?
Exactly. He talks about all those emotional and psychological barriers that often hold people back from achieving financial success.
So it's not just about having the right tools. It's also about having the right mindset.
100%.
Makes sense. What are some of the psychological things that he talks about?
Well, he tackles a lot of the common fears and misconceptions surrounding money. Like, for example, he addresses that whole belief that rich people are greedy.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people have that belief.
Yeah. And he shows that, wealth can actually be a tool for good.
Okay, yeah. How you use it.
Exactly. He also emphasizes that building wealth doesn't have to mean sacrificing your values or your happiness.
Right, right. I remember that being a big takeaway for me, actually.
Yeah.
I used to think that being good with money meant being super frugal and basically depriving myself of things I enjoyed. Just constantly saving, saving, saving.
Right.
But Sethi's approach is totally different. He says you can still enjoy life and be financially responsible.
Absolutely. He encourages you to spend, even lavishly, on things you love.
Okay, now we're talking. But cut costs mercilessly on things you don't.
Exactly. Like, he uses the example of negotiating a lower cable bill so you can free up money to travel if travel is something you value.
That's a great example.
Right. It's about being conscious and making choices.
Yeah, yeah. Being intentional, like we talked about before.
Exactly. It's all connected. And even when you're being intentional and you're following all the steps, things happen. You might make mistakes along the way.
Oh, for sure. I've definitely made my share of financial mistakes.
And Sethi acknowledges that. He says everyone makes mistakes. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about learning from those mistakes and moving forward.
Right. I love that quote of his. I think it was something like, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be better than you were yesterday.
Yes. That's such a good one.
So true.
It takes the pressure off, right?
Totally.
He also talks about the importance of celebrating your wins.
Oh, yeah. The wins, big or small.
Exactly. Did you finally automate your savings? Celebrate that. Did you negotiate a lower interest rate on your credit card? Give yourself a high five.
I love that.
Those small wins can really add up.
They do. They build momentum.
Absolutely.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. What would you say is Sethi's core message?
I think it's this. You are capable of achieving financial freedom. It's not about luck or special skills or being born into wealth. It's about taking control of your finances, making informed decisions, and developing a mindset that supports your goals.
He really does empower his readers, doesn't he?
He does.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It's been a fantastic journey exploring Sethi's insights and advice.
I hope everyone listening feels as inspired as we do.
Before we sign off, we want to leave you with one final thought. What's one small step you can take today, inspired by Sethi's teachings, to start moving toward financial freedom?
Maybe check your credit score, set up an automatic savings transfer.
Or even just identify one area where you can cut back on spending.
Exactly. Remember, even small steps taken consistently can lead to big results.
You have the power to create a life of abundance and fulfillment. So go out there and start taking action. And until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.